there's a been there, done that aspect to Fear the Walking Dead. I saw that last night, and it's funny because I did my rant about a month ago now, and I will admit the show's got better. The one debate that occurred in my home last night. My son doesn't really watch the Fear the Walking Dead, but of course it came in just before. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen last night's two-part season finale, turn away now. You've been warned. Okay. So when Travis finds out that these two guys killed his kid, now we could debate Chris being a psychopath, sociopath, whatever other kind of path you might want to call him. He certainly was willing to kill Alicia. He certainly was willing to kill his stepmother. I believe that. They never officially revealed it at any point. He never expressed it openly. But I believe that was the plan. At one point, because they had seen things with him that disturbed them. They seem to be wrapping up Nick having this group that he belonged to, which is good. The reveal that Alejandro wasn't immune was the most obvious reveal in the history of television. I could have made a video where I called it, but I didn't see the point because we all know nobody is ever immune in the zombie apocalypse. Not to mention, we know, for those of us who watch The Walking Dead, that from Rick going to CDC told them how the whole thing works. So everybody has the virus, the entire planet, and it shows up when you die. Now, in terms of how I would rate this season finale, it's hard to say. Alicia took a big step forward. Madison, I think, has finally started to appear like a parent who's concerned about her daughter. Travis, it was time to quote Zombieland, nut up or shut up, and he definitely nutted up. He has a strong basis now for next season, as rough as it's going to be for him because of the passing of his son. But, you know, as I said, I was watching last night with my kid, and while Travis is laying waste to these two youth, my kid was like, "What's he doing? Why is he doing this?" I'm like, "They killed his son." He's like, "But this doesn't solve anything. This doesn't bring his son back." I'm like, "That's not the point. There's no cops. It's the apocalypse. Nothing's going to happen to these guys." And he wants. I think there's another side of this too. I think Travis was upset with himself for not standing up to them before they killed the other sick, injured member of their team. In the apocalypse, the idea that you would kill those who get injured makes some sense. It does. I think if it's a grievous wound or injury and they're not going to get better, and of course, people will point out in the comments if I don't say it, obviously antibiotics aren't going to be available. The idea that wounds go septic, there's gangrene, and these people will become zombies much quicker than they would in the civilized society we enjoy now. Obviously, these things are true. But I would think there's two ways to go about this. You kill them, or because the zombies walk, not running zombies, you can, for instance, if it was a friend of mine, zombie apocalypse, we're out, he gets hurt, can't continue, I know I can't stay with him, I have to go. I'm assuming we're going to have multiple firearms in this scenario. I would leave him, say, here's a gun, ammo, good luck, defend yourself, you know, I will give you a fighting chance to survive. These teens didn't believe in that. You're weak, you're dead. And eventually all of them are dead. This is the problem with I would look on The Walking Dead and say, okay, Herschel. Herschel would have obviously been one that he's an old man. He's, missing part of his foot. Or missing his foot altogether. He's a weak link, right? No. Herschel was strong, and in the end, he was felled because the governor chose it. So, um, Herschel was part of that moral center that disappeared when Dale died. And Fear the Walking Dead doesn't really have a moral center. It's certainly not Madison. Is it Alicia? Maybe. But I will say that going into season 3, Ophelia is stronger than I think I gave her credit for. I don't think the girl that Nick has been hooking up with, and for whatever reason, I can understand why he's hooking up with her. She's very attractive. She's very resourceful. I don't understand why she's hooking up with him other than there's not a whole lot of people around. So one side I understand, the other side I'm like baffled, because Nick is a disaster, and he brought a lot of the disaster with him. Alejandra's camp was probably not going to last very long anyways. And I think it's part of what this is the trick with a Walking Dead show, and having two of them on. The exact same storyline is going to repeat itself over and over and over and over again. Find a group gets infected, kill the group, move on. Find a group's crazy, taking care of the infected, have to kill the crazies, move on. Repeat, rinse, and just change things around. Walking Dead this year, everybody's excited because Negan's coming in. And I'm interested to see who he kills. I've been one of the outspoken in terms of, I think The Walking Dead does too many cliffhangers. And Fear the Walking Dead is nudging towards that as well. But I don't think this season finale left as many cliffhangers as The Walking Dead did. Well, I'll put it this way. In terms of impact on the show, the cliffhanger left out there by The Walking Dead is huge. It is a huge cliffhanger in that likely one of the main characters is going to be dead. Now, I don't think it's going to be a main character. I think it's going to be a new-ish character. Like, obviously, there are some choices that are up there. Daryl's name gets floated out there. I can't see it. They make so much money on Daryl t-shirts, and I even saw a crossbow lamp when I was out the other day at HMV. Like, there's Daryl merchandise everywhere, so I just can't see it. And I really, I could never see a point where Rick would be taken out. So, Carol maybe. It's tough. It is. It's not an easy call. And yeah, I know who Negan beat with the baseball bat in the comics, but I don't think they're going to go there because that would be the obvious. And I think there'd be a lot of groaning if that was how they worked it, because we went through the is he dead storyline last year and then he wasn't, and for them to turn around at the start of this year and go, yeah, well, we killed him now anyways. Yeah, that wouldn't be cool. But of course, I'm a person who believes that killing off Andrea was a bad idea, so what do I know? I think Andrea was finally becoming a useful part of the cast, and then they killed her off for shock value more than anything else. The idea of, in the comics, Andrea and Rick are together, that makes a lot more sense to me personally than Michonne and Rick, because it seems really out of left field that the two of them are together. But I digress. This is about Fear the Walking Dead. So Travis is stronger. I think Madison's stronger. Strand decided to stay behind. I don't know if they're going to take Strand off the show, if he'll just be recurring, or if something's going to happen, he's going to catch up with them. It would be a shame to lose Strand. I think Strand has proven himself to be far more interesting and deep than he appeared to be in season one. When he initially meets Nick, he just has this slick, fast-talking sort of attitude, and you get this feeling like he might be a little dangerous. And in this season, they've really shown that Victor has a lot of depth. There were some brave turns they took with Victor. That he was gay, and they made his relationship with another man the fulcrum of the mid-season finale. And I liked it. I bought it. I bought it. I bought the romance angle. I bought the idea that Victor probably is suave enough that he could see himself romancing men or women and do it for the challenge. And that's why I would be very upset to see Victor off the show, because he is a character that has a lot of depth and a lot of layers, and I don't think they've fully developed him. Travis is showing that depth. Alicia is showing that depth. Madison's showing that depth. And Nick has the potential. I guess we'll see where they go with it. Where's Ophelia, this kind of thing. It did get better as the season went along. I found myself less concerned with stupid decisions. I do wonder, like for Madison with these two guys, she was obviously trying to get them out before Travis realized that they were there. And realized that Travis would snap. But if Travis had somebody there who had a connection to Nick and was trying to rush them out the door, and Madison found out, she'd lose her shit. She actually brought this horde of refugees by trying to reach out to her son, endangering everybody else in the hotel. So it's a bit hypocritical for her to say, okay, you boys may have information and Travis might be after you, so I'm going to get you out and sneak you out the front door. And you can look at it and say, well, it was cold-hearted of her to throw them out of the hotel, but it gives them a fighting chance. They didn't have a fighting chance with Travis. And my son mentioned that too. He's like, well, mentioning the fight and just as two guys against one, and I said, it is the righteous anger of a father that they're up against. They don't have a chance. The righteous anger of the father of the slain son, they have no hope. They're done. And as a father of a son myself, I can say that in a post-apocalyptic world, if I was confronted with two young men who told me that happened to my kid, and I'm not physically imposing in the nature of Travis, but not everybody's walking out of that room alive. And if it's me that's going down, fine. But I'm going to likely snap in that situation like Travis did. It is a rough moral call, and it was nice to see that arc for Travis. And there's certain things that I look at and I say, okay, well, like the statement that for people who can't be controlled and are likely unhinged, they can't be with everybody else at the hotel, they need to be separated. So this is the impetus behind the family having to say, we have to get out of the hotel because Travis is unhinged and this is the rule. I would tweak that rule. The woman that stabbed Victor, there wasn't a reason to stab Victor. That was the wrong target. In this case, Travis had the right targets, but he did crush Oscar's skull. So yeah, I can see that. But Oscar was going to stop him from killing these kids. So, and it was sort of a reactionary move that caused Oscar's injuries from which he could recover. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes in season 3. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Fear the Walking Dead, and I understand your concerns and complaints, and I share some of those complaints. And I was ready to stop watching, but the show did manage to pull me back, and I will continue to watch in season 3, um, because I've finally started to see in the characters some interesting aspects of their personalities, and they may very well make it so for those of us who watch from the beginning, they say, okay, here, we will justify your faith in the show, your willingness to watch, your willingness to sit through the boring horribleness. The thing that gets me, and one final point, is fans of The Walking Dead complain that Fear the Walking Dead is boring, which is fine, but there are plenty of episodes of The Walking Dead which are completely flashbacks, have no interest in advancing the current storyline, which I think is cheap. And it's no different than when Terrence and Phillip come out on South Park with an episode while we're waiting to find out who Cartman's dad is. It's the exact same method, just not as funny. And there are plenty of episodes of The Walking Dead which feature just people walking. We're living up to the title. And you may not see a walker, you may not have a confrontation, and then at the end of the show there's some kind of a cliffhanger, and then, oh, next week something's going to happen. This is my problem with The Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead has a similar angle, a similar bent, but I don't find it as egregious with Fear the Walking Dead as I do with The Walking Dead, and that, again, that's me. I understand it's not a popular opinion, everybody loves The Walking Dead, but I just find that if you watch every other episode of The Walking Dead, it's a better show. Because, of course, you have the ominous voiceover guy at the start, previously on The Walking Dead, and then they tell you what you missed, and you go, okay, I didn't really miss anything, and then you dive into that week's episode, and you get 2 weeks worth of information in one show, which I think, honestly, I think The Walking Dead would be a much better show if it was a BBC style show, where you've got 6, maybe 8 episodes, and that's your season. I think somewhere along the line, the greed and let's do more episodes so we can make more money and get more ratings, I think that became more important than the actual quality of the show. So it drags out the storylines. They go, okay, this season we're going to bring in Negan. Okay, well, we got to fill in this. Did they do 22 episodes last year or 16? I don't remember. I know it was more than it used to be, and there were hours of the show that it seemed like nothing got advanced, especially when some guy comes in, I'm Negan, and you go, that's not Negan. And then, the characters find out at the end of the episode, that wasn't really Negan. Maybe they're all Negan. And it's like, no. And then the storyline just wouldn't advance. So this is my pet peeve about the show. And I'd be really interested to see a BBC treatment of it, actually. I'd be really interested to see a six episode season done for European TV, and because it would be BBC, the episodes would actually be an hour long instead of the 44 minutes with 16 minutes of commercials. I think you'd have a tighter story, a better story, longer scenes, more fluid character development, and more of those moral choices coming up earlier. It's interesting to see how, I watched Kevin Smith last night on Geeking Out, and he said it's amazing to see how there are multiple series on television now of zombie shows that are better than any zombie movie that was released before them. I will agree there. Zombie movies were throwaways. Zombie movies were done for just over-the-top gore and shock effects. There were a couple of good ones, but there were a lot of really, really bad ones. So this show has created respect for that genre, and it allows for people who work in that genre to say, you know what, we can do a really good movie, and you might be able to secure a really good budget, because Hollywood may go, hey, if we give this guy the money, look how much money The Walking Dead makes. So it's been good that way. Anyways, so that's it for me. If I had to rate it out of, say, 5 stars, I'd give last night's season finale, a 2-parter, solid 4.5. I think they really picked it up, and for people who don't like it, I'm not going to say you're going to like it now, but it did get better towards the end of the season, and I will give them full value for that.